Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mrs. Saribi. I've actually just returned from Afghanistan in the last 24 hours. I was there in Helmand province visiting Camp Bastion and the International Security Assistance Force, and in particular British forces there. And I was very impressed by their professionalism and their development of the infrastructure. And first of all, I'd like to start. They gave me these figures, which is a comparison of what it was like under the Taliban to what it was like now, and as of October last month, 10 years after the invasion. And schools have increased from 1,000 to 14,000, 20,000 teachers to 190,000 teachers, from 1 million no female students to 8.3 million students, including 3.2 female. There was no women in government, and as we obviously now know, there's 27% of the lower parliament, and you are a governor. The roadways have increased from 18,000 kilometres to over 42,000 kilometres. There are 17 million subscribers to mobile companies, which there are 6, which there was only 1 in 2001. There are healthcare access has increased by 60%, and infant mortality has dropped by 20%. So I think there's obviously significant improvement there, but there is obviously, and it can be seen, a lot to go, a lot further to be achieved. What struck me, though, is obviously that the Americans and the British have made it clear that they wish to withdraw their forces by 2014. And just in Helmand alone, they are responsible for the employment of 6,000 people. And in fact, it's actually, just by the forces being there, it's a huge part of the Afghan economy. And one of the, I think the big fears is when the forces actually leave, what's going to supplement the economy? And of course, you know, it's all very well having these projections of, you know, how we would like it to be, but unless you get the fundamentals right, we are not going to protect, for example, human rights if people are hungry and that they would run to the Taliban for some source of income, read poppies, read the poppy, etc. Also, the civil justice and governance, I'd like to hear more of your comments about the development of civil justice to protect, obviously, ultimately, human rights. But how is that development going on? What more needs to be done? I also met with the Afghan National Security Force, Brigadier General Shireen Shah, who has been very developing the Afghan National Force under the training of the coalition. But there is a 30% dropout of Afghans from this force. And I'd probably like to hear your comments of why you think that is so high, that 1 in 3 do not complete the training. If you have any ideas of why that would be. The other thing is obviously to have a successful, sustainable economy, you obviously have to have a strong political infrastructure. And that strikes me that isn't the case in Afghanistan. For example, there are no political parties, and President Karzai doesn't seem to be very supportive of political parties. I understand that, obviously, being that there's obviously different tribes, etc., it may not help that. But President Karzai, as you know, is up for election in 2014. You know, the same year as the coalition forces wish to downgrade. How do you foresee that development? Because again, political, you know, I've been, for example, to Tunisia this year, and we've seen in, you know, now Libya and Egypt, etc. Unless there is a development of political parties, how can you maintain the progress? And the other thing is, which strikes me, and I'll welcome your comment, is that the forces, not just British, but there are other European and American forces and other from around the world who have given so much of their time, their lives. I mean, the comments that is used, there's been a lot of blood and treasure invested in Afghanistan. And it's, you know, it's a heavy burden upon your shoulders and that of President Karzai to make sure that blood and treasure wasn't wasted. There's been 389, for example, up to yesterday, 389 British forces deaths trying to create a safe state in Afghanistan. And I would invite you to pay tribute to those people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for very, very important question. There was another issue about the parties and civil society, that there is no strong party in Afghanistan, but recently they are growing. Of course, the majority of the parties are from former Mujahideen group, but the new parties and Democratic Party also growing up, and recently one of the strong party registered with the Ministry of Justice, it's the Haq wa Adalat, how to justice and Haq, how to say it? Law? Law and justice. This is something that all the very open-minded people, well-educated, and former minister, and so many good people include to that party. I don't think that President Karzai will be against the parties, but he doesn't want himself to make a party, and I haven't heard anything that he will be against making the party. There are so many, but I'm against to have. Against that to have more than 80 parties. If we could have at least 5 up to 10 good parties, it could be much more better than today. Okay, thank you. Yes, the other comments from your side was also if we can how to value all this, the blood that was poured in Afghanistan, and also the source that have been spent in Afghanistan, the same that you asked. We have to keep that value and give a privilege to all the value. And so, of course, we are all the people of Afghanistan are grateful from the support of international community. But I think we shouldn't forget that there were so many mistakes. And I'm sure that you are with me with that. If we could have or we could make a good policy, when I'm saying about we, I mean the government of Afghanistan with the international community and U.S. government, if we could have a good policy to not make a mistake at the first stage of the period that when the NATO came to Afghanistan or U.S., maybe the situation could be not like today. It could be much more better than today. So still we have time if we can make something or make a clear policy for that. And for the capacity, still there is not enough capacity. When the troops withdraw, there will be no problem in Afghanistan. I'm sure that there will be problem. And I'm sure that all the NATO countries will not go out from Afghanistan immediately. There will be some, there will be a part of the troops or the civilian will be remain in Afghanistan to build the capacity on the governance, on the rule of law, on the technical issue, and different other aspects. So this is something for sure. If all the international community will go out from Afghanistan immediately, and the reputation from 1992 will be repeated again. So the condition or the situation from 1992, when the government of Afghanistan or the Mujahideen group was success, and after that the international community and the U.S. government left us alone and did nothing with the Mujahideen group, and the civil war started in Afghanistan, and the result of that, the Taliban became powerful in Afghanistan. So, was there anything left? 30% چیره گفتن که اگر نیم؟ Oh yeah, about the ANA. The latest report says that some of the ANA, when they are participating, and some of them 30% or some percentage will leave again. I think it's a very tough question, but I think it refers to the wrong policy we have been taking from the first stage. Yeah. And the judiciary system, some of the governors and the local government didn't do a good job or didn't have a good behavior with the local community. So they are disappointed with the behavior of the government. So that's why when they will be disappointed, they don't have the morale or the they don't have the motivation to go ahead or to work more with the government of Afghanistan. This is the problem, but it's really a tough question, complicated issue to answer totally.